This monologue was based on an interview with a woman who had a good experience with a man.
This is how I came to love my vagina. It's embarrassing because it's not politically correct. I mean, I know it should have happened in a bath, salt grains from the Dead Sea, Enya playing, me loving my woman self. I know the story. Vaginas are beautiful. Our self-hatred is only the internalized repression of the patriarchal culture. Pussies unite. I know all of it. Like, if we'd grown up in a culture where we were taught that fat thighs were beautiful, we'd all be pounding down milkshakes and Krispy Kremes, spending our days lying on our backs, thigh expanding. But we didn't grow up in that culture. I hated my thighs. And I hated my vagina even more. I thought it was incredibly ugly. I was one of those women who had looked at it once and from that moment on wished I hadn't. It made me sick. I pitied anyone who had to go down there. In order to survive, I began to pretend there was something else between my legs. I imagined furniture, cozy futons with light cotton comforters, little velvet settees or leopard rugs, or pretty things, silk handkerchiefs, quilted pot holders, or place settings. I grew so accustomed to this that I lost all memory of even having a vagina. Whenever a man was inside me, I imagined him inside a mink-lined muffler or a Chinese bowl. But then I met Bob. Bob was the most ordinary man I had ever met. He was tall and thin and nondescript. He wore khaki tan clothes. He didn't like spicy foods or listen to Prince. In the summer, he spent time in the shade. He had no interest in sexy lingerie. He didn't share his inner feelings. He didn't have any problems or issues and wasn't even an alcoholic. He wasn't mean or unavailable. He wasn't self-involved or charismatic. He didn't drive fast. I didn't particularly like Bob. I would have missed him altogether if he hadn't picked up the change I dropped on the deli floor. When he handed me back my quarters and pennies and his hand accidentally touched mine, something happened. I went to bed with him. And that is when the miracle occurred. You see, it turned out that Bob loved vaginas. He was a connoisseur. He loved the way they felt, loved the way they tasted, loved the way they looked, but most importantly, loved the way they smelled. But most importantly, he loved the way they looked. He had to see them. The first time we had sex, he said he had to see me. I'm right here, I said. No, you, he said. I need to see you. Turn on the lights, I said, thinking he was a weirdo and freaking out in the dark. He turned on the light, and then he said, okay, I'm ready to see you. I'm right here, Bob, I waved, I'm right here. Then he began to undress me. What are you doing, Bob? I said. I need to see you, he said. No need, just do it. I need to see what you look like. But you've seen a red leather couch before, I said. Bob continued. He would not stop. I wanted to throw up and die. This is awfully intimate, I said. Can't you just do it? No, he said. It's who you are. I need to look. I held my breath. He looked, and he looked, and he got breathy, and his face changed. He didn't look ordinary anymore, I said. He said, "You are so beautiful." He said, "You are elegant and deep and innocent and wild." "You saw that there?" I said. It was like he had read my palm. "I saw that," he said, "and more. Much, much more." He stayed looking for almost an hour, as if he were studying a map, observing the moon, or staring into my eyes. But it was my vagina. In the light, I watched him looking at me, and he was so genuinely excited, so peaceful, so euphoric. I began to get wet and turned on. I began to see myself the way that he saw me. I began to feel beautiful and delicious, like a great painting or a waterfall. Bob wasn't afraid. He wasn't grossed out. I began to swell, began to feel proud, began to love my vagina. And Bob, he lost himself there. And I was with him in my vagina. And we were gone.